You can say a lot with your shape design. You also notice on the headdress I'm using a lot of long points, and you can tell those long points are ornamental because they don't, serve any kind of real purpose. And when you have ornamental things on a person, it automatically makes them feel both more important and more like they're above doing mundane tasks, because you're not going to wear like incredibly fancy ornamental clothing to, fight a war. You might wear it to address your court, or maybe even plan your war, but not in battle. So once I had a scribbled in kind of silhouette, something I was semi-happy with, I just dropped the opacity of that layer down and make a new layer on top of it, and now I'm just drawing on a new layer, trying to clean up those lines a little bit. It's like using tracing paper. That's another thing that I like to do when I do a lot of characters is I like to make sure there's a good contrast between busy detail and places where your eye can rest. Not just in character designs, also in illustration too. Having too much information on something can really just be too hard to look at, Having not that much information, you won't want to look at it too long. So having good variety of busy shapes and busy details with simple shapes and simple details is a good way to, it's almost like roller coaster. You have like really fun, fast part followed by a slower, ascension, and it's like this wave. So here he is, our Overlord character. Very powerful, maybe dark wizard or something. You can tell he commands like, I don't know, an army of undead or orcs or something. It's all through the character design. Okay, so the next villain we're going to do is what I'm going to call the Hunter. So the Overlord was a type of villain that is really like a mastermind of things that commands lots of underlings to do his bidding. So a Hunter is more a hands-on type of villain. He might be by himself, he might have a small group of underlings, but he does a lot of the work. So when you start drawing, you really want to have a good idea of like who is this guy that you're drawing, Why you can't really make a mark unless you know what you want that mark to say. If you're just making marks to explore, you're gonna be doodling for a while, or you might end up with something a little bit too generic. A little bit of color can go a long way. Even if you're working on something that's supposedly black and white, or it's practically gray, black costume, just adding a little hint of color here and there and making it change throughout the painting can really bring some life into it. Okay, so here's our Hunter, our sneaky, stalking assassin character. Simple and dangerous. Okay, so this last villain I'm going to try is a Deceiver. So the Deceiver is just as it sounds. It's a person that will trick the main character or some other character at some point in the movie or game. I'm not afraid to completely obliterate parts of this image in order to make it better, You should never feel too attached to anything you have in your image, even if you spend a lot of time on it. A lot of time doesn't mean it's correct. So, if something's wrong, it's wrong, and don't be afraid to just wipe it out or change it. Like you can see right there, I just like completely shrunk her legs because they were too long. It's all for the better image, and that's all that matters in the end. Especially in a sketch, the main thing you want is to make sure everything is readable. A lot of people think, okay, sketch or thumbnail, the key thing is that you need it fast. But no, the key thing actually is that you need it readable, so that there's no questions about when you take things further. You want your client to know exactly what you're going to do, or have a fairly good idea. You don't want it too scribbly, because they might interpret it one way, well, you interpret it another, and when you clean it up and it's not what they expect, then expect a lot of back and forth and time wasted. So take the time to make your thumbnails and sketches readable. Just learning about how these characters are supposed to affect your audience and what visual shapes and visual language help to reinforce those kind of ideas really helps to make good concepts work well. So I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of our exploration of villain characters, and I hope you'll tune in for a few more characters next time around. Thanks.